Hey teachers, Natalie Roy here, 2021 Louisiana State Teacher of the Year. I want to talk to y'all about an amazing professional development program called the Grosvenor Teacher Fellowship. This program has support from two giants in the educational community, and I'll talk about each one of them a little bit. You probably have heard of the National Geographic Society, right? Yes, a nonprofit organization founded in 1888 in the USA to illuminate and protect the wonder of the world. They are, of course, the publisher of the famous magazine. You may not have heard, though, of Lindblad Expeditions. Founded by Sven Olaf Lindblad in 1966, this company helps people to explore the natural wonders of the world via expedition vessels with naturalists and other specialists as guides. In 2007, the Lindblad family honored Gil Grosvenor, the longtime president of National Geographic, with this teacher fellowship named after him. And they donated berths or cabins on the ship so that teachers could experience expeditions and bring it back to their students. It's a nice little story about Gil Grosvenor that I learned about when I became a fellow, is that he used to visit all kinds of towns, cities all across the United States to speak about his experience in National Geographic. But what I did not know is that he would always request to stay another day after his speech was done so that he could volunteer, get ready for this, teachers, as a substitute teacher in a classroom in that town. And he did this in my town years ago at a local school and taught the kids about geography. I thought this was so touching to learn this about this man. And this fellowship is named after him. So who should apply for this? National Geographic and Lindblad are looking for teachers who are change makers, community builders, and have a cultural consciousness. Come on, y'all. Teachers of the Year, this is made for you. The application process begins in September. This year, I think it begins on September 24th, which is coming up next week. Teachers are going to be asked to write essays. I think there are 3 or 4 of them, as if memory serves. You're going to have to make a 2-minute video about yourself and share a resume. All the colored little linked things here in the presentation, you can see the one that I turned in. So just to give you an example, I wanted to be as helpful as I could for you in the process. You're going to choose dates to travel that you could travel on. You'll have to get your principal's approval for this. And it's kind of complicated. You're going to have to pick destinations that you would like to try to go to, but the actual dates and the location that you'll be traveling in will be chosen for you by National Geographic and Lindblad. After they pick the participants, they kind of figure out who's going where. So just because you apply for something doesn't mean that you're going to get that particular date or destination. So it's kind of open until you find out. Top destinations are the Antarctica trip. I think they send 8 to 10 people, teachers, on that trip. So it's a lot. The Arctic as well. Galapagos, I think, is second, but there are lots of other destinations. This year, they've added the Mediterranean. I think they're going to Egypt this year. So lots of things to think about. Here's the timeline for the application process this year. Yes, this is correct. That's this year. So applications open on the 24th. And November is when they close this year. So that's a little different because usually it was January. They're different now. Yeah. And so the cohort will be selected in February. And in February, you will get a personal call from someone at Lindblad or National Geographic. They will tell you you've been selected. You will scream in surprise. I got my call in the middle of afternoon duty on the hall as students were trying to get to their buses. It was kind of crazy. I was chosen as one of 35, that they picked for this year's cohort, which is amazing. They had over 500 applications last year. I did get my first choice of expedition, which was the Ancient Isles. And you see the itinerary here. We went from Edinburgh, Scotland, all the way around the British Isles back to London, basically. You're also invited to train in Washington, D.C. in April at National Geographic headquarters. 2 vessels you'll get used to on your expedition, because this is all about, it's basically, it's a very educational cruise. And the vessels are fascinating. The one that I traveled on was the National Geographic Explorer, which is pictured here. So those are large ships. The other is called the Zodiac, and these are tiny little rubberized boats with motors on them. You see it here with some of my participants from my expedition. And these allow you to get really, really close to and access places that you wouldn't normally on a regular big old cruise ship. You get to see wildlife. It's just a fascinating experience. You also get a shipmate. You find out who your shipmate is when they call you in February. And mine was this lady named Deb Freitag, a social studies teacher in Wisconsin. And we just felt like, old souls together on this expedition. It was amazing to travel with another teacher, talk through ideas and about how we're going to use our experience. The training in April at National Geographic headquarters was amazing. It was probably the best professional development experience alone that I had ever experienced. I mean, it was amazing. We got to, of course, meet our cohort, all these teachers from all over the US and Canada. And then this quote inspires me. I've always been a fan of National Geographic since I was a child. So this really touched me. They use the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to illuminate and protect the wonder of our world. There, we got to hear from speakers like Alex Tate, the official geographer of National Geographic. Pretty amazing. We also got lessons in how to tell a story in photographs. We got some gear that would help us on our trip. Wonderful stuff. And this experience, it also allows you to expand what you do in the community. So the deliverables that we're expected to work on after our expedition are a photo story. We have to choose 5 photographs from our expedition and kind of tell a story with them. We have to do an outreach and impact projects with our students that kind of talk about, our experience and help our students to learn about the National Geographic explorer mindset. My expedition itself, you can see here what I kind of did. Some people choose to go in a little early, which is what Deb and I chose to do. We saw some of Scotland, had a wonderful time. And then when we embarked on our ship, my focus was UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So I saw all kinds of amazing places in Scotland, Orkney, Shetland, the Hebrides, Ireland. And then when we came back to London, I spent another day at the British Museum seeing an exhibition about something that I personally am interested in and that I teach, which is the Roman army. So if you want to learn more about this project, about this experience, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My email address is there. I put the application details here in a link. And then I'm also, part of my outreach work was to share my experience. So I created a website about that, and you can see that here. I hope that Sarah will send not only this video to you, but also a link to the presentation so that you can see these links. Again, if you have questions, please let me know. I'm Natalie. Would love to talk to you and encourage you to do this amazing program. It is life-changing.